In 2020, a tear-jerking blockbuster took the South Korean film industry by storm. It not only moved countless viewers to tears, but also became South Korea's highest-grossing film of the year. While the film may seem simple and unassuming, it became a must-watch emotional masterpiece for millions that year. He is a feared debt collector. She is a poor child abandoned by her mother. An encounter sparked by the name of Collateral bound two strangers to the same destiny with no blood relation. Their bond surpassed even that of a father and daughter. This movie, which will have you crying from start to finish, shows us that the most touching family bonds have nothing to do with blood. The story begins in Incheon, 1993, where a fierce loan shark Do Seok goes to collect a debt. Their target today is a woman named Myung-ja. Soon Do Seok spots her in the crowd, seeing Myung-ja trying to run. He gives chase and blocks the mother and daughter's path. The woman pleads that she will repay the money as soon as possible. Her daughter, Jung-yi, hides behind her mother in fear. Confronted by the debt collectors, Myung-ja explains that since her husband passed away, she is unable to repay such a massive debt. His partner Jong-bae softens immediately, but Do Seok remains unmoved. He has dealt with all kinds of debt dodgers. A simple sob story isn't enough to sway him. What could be on a 9-year-old's mind? She just wants to protect her mother. Despite Do Seok's fierce glare, Sung-yi shows no fear. Do Seok realizes he won't be getting the money today. To ensure Myung-ja pays him back soon, Do Seok demands something as collateral, but the woman claims she has nothing of value left at home. Do Seok gives a cynical smile and pulls Sung-yi away from her mother, warning her to bring the money by 4 p.m. tomorrow to get her back. Despite his fierce appearance facing the tearful young girl, Do Seok couldn't help but show a trace of awkward concern, even handing her the only toy he had in the car. However, Sung-yi ignored him and just kept on crying. For a moment, Do Seok felt an inexplicable pang of sympathy. Back at home, Jong-bae was feeling a bit uneasy. He worried that taking a child was illegal and feared the mother might call the police. But Do Seok calmly assured him that Myung-ja wouldn't dare go to the police. She's an illegal immigrant hiding from the authorities in Korea. Desperate to save her daughter, Myung-ja went to her late husband's former workplace, hoping to collect his unpaid wages, only to be ruthlessly driven away. It turned out her husband had long since gambled all the money away. With no other options, Myung-ja had to call the girl's uncle to beg for a loan. Relieved after securing the money, she quickly paged Do Seok saying she'd bring the money for her daughter at 9 a.m. tomorrow. The next morning, Do Seok arrived at the meeting point early to wait, but as the hours ticked by from 9 a.m. to noon, there was still no sign of Myung-ja. When their boss found out, he was absolutely furious with the two. They're a debt collection agency, not a kidnapping ring. The boss ordered them to return the child immediately. Terrified they might hurt her mother, Sung-yi refused to give them her address. She even took advantage of a traffic jam to slip out of the car and run away. Do Seok and Jong-bae panicked if the child went missing, they would truly become kidnappers. They searched the area for a long time, but she was nowhere to be found. When Sung-yi returned home, her mother was nowhere to be found. She sat on the sofa feeling helpless and desperate, wanting something to eat. She found the rice cooker was empty. Luckily, there was still some milk and a rice ball in the fridge. As she ate tea, tears streamed down her face. The next day, Do Seok received a call from the immigration office. Arriving there, he learned that Myung-ja was about to be deported back to China. It turned out that her husband's boss had secretly called the police while she was on the phone that day. Just as Myung-ja thought she could successfully get her daughter back, the police appeared, leaving her collapsed on the ground in terror. She was eventually taken to the immigration center. Before leaving, Myung-ja desperately pleaded to see Do Seok one last time. She begged him to look after her daughter for a few more days, explaining that she had contacted Sung-yi's uncle, who would soon arrive to repay the debt, and take Sung-yi with him.
Please, I'm begging you, I have no one else to ask. She is all I have. Uncle will surely come for her soon. Do Seok looked into Myung-ja's pleading, resolute eyes. Despite his many concerns, he ultimately agreed to her request.
Later, Do Seok went to the address provided by the police to find Myung-ja's home, but it was cold and deserted. Just as he was about to leave, he accidentally noticed the writing on a whiteboard. Do Seok realized instantly that the child must have gone out to find her mother. For a 9-year-old child alone in an unfamiliar city, trying to find her mother was like looking for a needle in a haystack. Night fell quickly. Seeing Sung-yi wandering the streets all by herself was truly heartbreaking. At that moment, a human trafficker appeared behind her, using a piece of bread to lure Sung-yi away.
It's my last song. Where's the list? Return nature to nature.
After confirming the girl was all alone, the trafficker shamelessly grabbed her and wouldn't let go. Sung-yi gave him a hard bite to break free from his grip. Just as the trafficker was about to retaliate, a figure suddenly appeared.
My palm isn't some snack you can just take. I'm not giving her to you.
The trafficker tried to fight back, but Do Seok subdued him in a single move. At that moment, his presence gave Sung-yi an unexpected sense of security. After the trafficker was driven away, Sung-yi walked over and grabbed Do Seok's hand.
Saying Sung-yi, trying to run Do Seok, had no choice but to hold her tightly.
Watching Sung-yi cry her heart out, this man with a heart of stone was completely moved by her weeping. Back at home, Sung-yi was very well behaved. She even helped them with the laundry and used her tiny hands to scrub the floor until it shone, leaving every single corner spotless. Do Seok was also surprised by the child's behavior, even though he acted like he didn't care. He couldn't help but check if Sung-yi's little hands were hurt. Soon after, Do Seok received a call from an unknown number. It was Sung-yi's uncle, saying he would pay half of the debt up front and pay the rest in a week before taking Sung-yi away. After chasing this debt for years, he was finally getting the money back. Both Do Seok and Sung-yi smiled at the same time. Afterwards, they took her to the mall to buy some new clothes. On the way, Do Seok learned the girl's name for the first time, Lee Sung-yi. She had just turned 9 years old. When she heard the uncle's name was Do Seok, Sung-yi couldn't stop laughing. The two took Sung-yi shopping for a beautiful dress and treated her to a feast. Do Seok asked her if there was anything she wanted to do before leaving Seoul. Sung-yi said she wanted to go to a SEO Taiji concert. However, the high ticket price made Do Seok change the subject, leaving Sung-yi disappointed. In the end, the two of them managed to sneak her into the concert. Seeing her favorite idol perform, Sung-yi seemed to forget all her troubles in that moment. After the concert, Sung-yi also wanted the idol's CDs and cassette tapes, but the cost of these items once again gave Do Seok a headache.
And so it was.
On the way home, looking at the gifts she had longed for, Sung-yi was overjoyed. She lunged forward to hug Do Seok, repeatedly saying thank you. Although he had taken Sung-yi merely as a pawn, their time together over the past few days had already sparked a deep paternal affection within him. On the night before her departure, the two men painstakingly prepared a farewell cake for Sung-yi. Yet none of them could manage a smile, for they all knew that after this parting, whether they would ever meet again was left entirely to fate. The next day, Do Seok took Sung-yi to the station. At the station, he gave Sung-yi endless instructions. Avoid strangers, and whatever you do, don't talk to them. If you miss me, just give me a call. And most importantly, don't go around hugging other men. At this moment, Do Seok wasn't a debt collector, but a devoted father, fretting over a daughter about to embark on a long journey, while Sung-yi was in the restroom. The usually stingy Do Seok splurged on a CD player for her, hoping she would think of him whenever she listened to music. Just then, an old man approached. He looked so fierce that Sung-yi hid behind Do Seok in fear. This man was Sung-yi's uncle. To Do Seok's surprise, the uncle didn't even know his own niece's name. Still feeling uneasy, Do Seok made him write down his home address.
Back then, everyone was still using those BP pagers.
Let's go. Let's go.
Although the old man didn't look trustworthy, Do Seok had no choice but to hand Sung-yi over. After all, he was Sung-yi's only relative. As he watched Sung-yi board the bus, Do Seok, who should have felt relieved, now felt a heavy weight on his heart and an indescribable sadness. Do Seok thought the uncle would provide her with a better life, unaware that it was the beginning of Sung-yi's nightmare. Ever since Sung-yi left, Do Seok felt as if he had lost his soul. He was depressed every day and lost all interest in collecting debts.
자, What am I doing?
This stubborn man kept finding various excuses to reach out to Sung-yi, but as the days passed, there was still no word from her. At first, Do-seok thought she was just adjusting to her new environment, but as more time went by, he simply couldn't sit still any longer. He tried calling Sung-yi's uncle, only to discover that both the phone number and the address were fake. At that moment, Do-seok could no longer focus on his work. Using all his resources, he finally tracked down the uncle's real address. When he finally confronted the old man, he learned a shocking truth. It turned out that right after taking Sung-yi, the old man had sold her to traffickers.
What have you done to her? This is bad, really bad. She was just a child, and you led her into a trap. How could you just sell a young girl like that? I have to go and find her. Tell me where she is. I will track down whoever took her. You know, I'm going to like you, yes. At this moment, anger is not enough to describe how Do-seok feels, no matter how hard he pressed.
The old man refused to reveal Sung-yi's whereabouts. Do-seok kept wondering, how is she doing? Does she have enough to eat? Is she being bullied? Where could she be now? After being passed around, Sung-yi was eventually sold to a nightclub in Busan. Starving and cold, every day she was forced to do filthy chores like clearing tables, scrubbing toilets, and cleaning private rooms.
Oh my god.
The heartless woman didn't take her to the hospital. She merely gave the wound a basic dressing. Sung-yi was left with nothing but a cup of nutritionless instant noodles a day. She wanted to page Do-seok, but she had forgotten the number he gave her. Fortunately, Sung-yi didn't give up. After repeatedly dialing every variation of the number in her memory, she finally managed to reach Do-seok one day.
This is...
It's no use. The room with this is. That wasn't me, Lisa the gyms. Going to the gym, just say it.
I'm not angry.
Oh. Basically say no. The manager said, it's a secret. The cutting was correct.
Hearing Sung-yi's cries, even Do-seok's heart of steel shattered into pieces. He immediately drove off to Busan. After a long night on the road, the two finally arrived and located the nightclub Sung-yi had described. Sung-yi was cowering in a corner, trembling with fear, her tiny body battered and bruised from the abuse. When she heard Uncle Do-seok's voice calling out, Sung-yi finally walked out from the back. At that moment, she could no longer hold back her emotions.
My god, who is this? Oh no, who is this? Oh, this is... Sister. Oh, my heart.
I can't.
Seeing Sung-yi like this, Do-seok felt a sharp pain in his heart, as if it were being pierced by needles. He had long since come to see her as his own daughter. Without a second thought, he smashed the glass door with his bare fist. At this moment, Sung-yi was no longer just his pawn, but his most precious treasure, like his own flesh and blood.
Hey! This is getting out of hand.
Looking at the scars on Sung-yi's face, Do-seok's rage finally reached its breaking point. Just as that woman appeared, he could no longer tolerate the suffering these scumbags had put her through. So he lunged forward and grabbed her by the throat.
Indistinct background dialogue.
On the way home, seeing the bleeding wounds on his hands, Sung-yi's heart ached for him. In this moment, they became the most important people in each other's lives. No longer afraid, Sung-yi quickly fell asleep in his arms. She hadn't had such a peaceful sleep in a very long time. Only in his embrace did she feel safe, as if she had finally found a warm harbor. Do-seok didn't want Sung-yi to suffer any more trauma, so he decided to raise her himself and never let her suffer another day in her life. To treat the scars on Sung-yi's face, Do-seok even sold his car to take her to the best plastic surgery clinic in Seoul. He couldn't bear to let her face remain scarred. Then he tried to enroll her in the best school, but because she wasn't a Korean citizen, she was temporarily unable to enroll. The only way was if Do Seok was willing to legally adopt Sung-yi as his daughter. Sung-yi didn't want to be his daughter, as she believed her mother would eventually come back for her.
I see.
Seeing how stubborn Sung-yi was, Do Seok had to ask Young-bae to talk to her. Young-bae told her that Uncle Do Seok was only pretending to be her father so that she could enroll in school as soon as possible. He promised to explain everything to her mother once she returned. This way, Sung-yi finally started school with Do Seok as her legal guardian. Yet, Do Seok cared for her like a real father, attending to her every need, preparing different meals for her every single day. Having such a devoted father made all her classmates envious, and the bright Sung-yi did not let Do Seok's efforts go to waste, consistently ranking first in every exam. Under her foster father's tender care, Sung-yi soon grew into a young woman. As she headed for the entrance exam, Uncle Do Seok cheered her on. After she went in, he stood at the school gate just like any other father, sincerely praying for his daughter's success. And she never failed to meet her foster father's expectations, getting admitted to a prestigious university with top grades. In college, Sung-yi eventually began dating Zing, a boy trying to steal his precious daughter away. Do Seok was ready to give the lad a piece of his mind. Although Sung-yi wasn't his biological daughter, he had long cherished her as his very own flesh and blood. But just as they were basking in this happiness, an international call shattered Do Seok's peaceful life with his daughter.
Delicious. The Seoul Mustang car. No sale yet. Hello, Do Seok.
It was Sung-yi's grandmother calling to tell Do Seok that Sung-yi's mother was dying of cancer. She hoped to see her daughter one last time before she passed away. To fulfill my Youngja's final wish, Do Seok eventually took Sung-yi to China. This was the first time Sung-yi had ever met her grandmother and her mother, who was now terminally ill. Seeing her mother so ravaged and worn down by illness, Sung-yi was both heartbroken and overcome with grief. Witnessing the scene, Do Seok silently closed the door to give them privacy. That evening, Sung-yi's mother knelt on the floor, repeatedly thanking Do Seok for raising her daughter. In truth, Youngja had gone to Seoul to find them years ago. Saying how happy the father and daughter were together, she chose not to disturb them while she battled cancer. Like any mother, she preferred to carry the pain alone, rather than burden her daughter's happy life. With her time running out, Youngja had one final wish. She hoped Do Seok could take Sung-yi to find her father, who had been missing for years.
Here, this is for you about going abroad. Oh, this is him.
This news left Do Seok deeply conflicted. Should he keep it a secret or take Sung-yi to meet her biological father? Despite his heavy heart, he agreed to fulfill the mother's final wish. After returning to Korea, Do Seok made many inquiries and eventually tracked down Sung-yi's biological father. Man had already started a new family, though Do Seok was reluctant to let her go. He still arranged for Sung-yi to meet him. Returning to his empty home with only Sung-yi's childhood photos, he felt completely hollowed out, as if he had aged decades overnight. With his daughter gone, his role as a stand-in father had come to an end. Just as he was about to give up on everything, his phone suddenly rang.
When? It's about the railway's birth.
Yes, I see.
Hello.
I'll get right back to you. In this world, what is it that can bring someone true heartfelt joy? Perhaps it is the miracle of finding what was once lost. Do Seok happily rode his motorcycle to pick up his daughter, but Sung-yi waited in the park for a long time. But her father never showed up to take her home. Father Do Seok had simply vanished into thin air. For the next 10 years, they searched everywhere for any trace of Do Seok, but they never heard a word. Even Uncle Young-bae urged her to give up. If he was still alive, he would have definitely come for you. After all, "You are the person he loved most in the world." Yongbei told her to let go and start a new life. Suddenly, she spotted an advertisement. Wasn't that Songbo the name she had given her father as a child? In that instant, a realization struck her. She rushed back to the police station and asked them to search again for the name Park Song-bo. This time, they finally found a match.
Park Do-seok, Park Song-bo. It really is him.
With the help of the police, they located the nursing home at the given address. The director told them that over 10 years ago, while on his way to pick up his daughter Sung-bo, was in a car accident. Although he miraculously survived, he lost all his memories. When he was first brought in, he only remembered 2 words, Sung-bo and pawn. Seeing the familiar handwriting in the notebook, they both broke down in tears, guided by the staff. They finally saw inside a locked room the man they had missed so dearly day and night. No matter how Jong-bae tried to explain who he was, Do-seok remained unresponsive. Do-seok has aged significantly. The scars on his face and the toll of time have worn down this once steely man beyond recognition. No matter what the two said, Do-seok gave no reaction until his daughter spoke those 2 words, pawn. Only then did Uncle Do-seok finally react.
You let these go. I have no idea how many times these items helped me.
Oh, please, please.
Though he had forgotten everything else, he still remembered every detail about his daughter. The Walkman he bought for her, the blessings he wrote for her, and even the dowry he had saved for her. For this pawn who shared no blood with him, this man spent the better part of his life toiling away. He always poured his heart and soul into his pawn, yet in the end, he failed to secure a happy ending for himself. He may not recognize the grown-up Sung Yi, but he never forgot his little pawn. A bond that began as a mere collateral, eventually became a priceless lifelong family love that never wavered. At Seung-ye's wedding, Uncle Do-seok held his daughter's hand and personally handed her over to the groom, just like any other father would. At this point, Park Do-seok finally fulfilled his mission, passing the responsibility of protecting his daughter to the groom.